I said, no, I'm not tripping, yo. I know I heard some noise coming from this freaking bottle. I'm not tripping. It's very subtle noise. Yummy. I'm gonna have me a pickle for breakfast. I think it's probably just the was it vinegar? The vinegar in here that was making the noise. Being that it was the jar was still pretty tight. So y'all, today is Saturday. I got up early this morning actually. I first got up at 6:30 I think. 6:30 or 7 or something like that. Then I went back to sleep. So I'm like, okay, I'll take a nap. I'm a bit too early, especially for Saturday, right? I went back to sleep, y'all. Now, when I went back to sleep, I had this very disturbing dream. I'm like, what in the hell? And I dream pretty much every time I fall asleep. Not every time I go to sleep, though, I have a disturbing dream. But every time I go to sleep, I dream. So, it's not like I'm foreign to having weird ass dreams. What's up, Mo? How are you? It's not like having weird dreams is foreign to me. You love how I'm living. Oh, I love you too. Thanks for the love. Here's my hug back to you. Thank you, Mo. So, I had this dream last night where... Okay, first I'm going to tell y'all about, like, my history of, like, weird dreams. Not all of my dreams, of course. I'm just going to pick out a few. So, like, of course, when I was growing up, I say of course because, like you guys have dreams too. I'm pretty sure y'all probably be having dreams, and y'all had dreams growing up. But when I was growing up as a young girl, I'm talking about, like, grade school. And I think before I even started school, I would have nightmares, like, consistently. And my parents, my mom and dad, they thought it was like me watching scary movies, but they didn't really let us watch like crazy stuff like that. We couldn't even watch Living Color. Because my mom, like, they were really careful about what kind of shows we were exposed to growing up. And I didn't even like scary movies anyway. So, you know, I'm like, I can't be having these like nightmares from scary movies, but I always have like nightmares growing up. And I'm talking about like gross nightmares, like I was always a victim in my freaking nightmares where monster was like always chasing me. This is what I remember growing up. Like it was big ass monster always chasing me. I never turned around to face the monster. What's up, Fred? You off today? I never turned around to face it. At least not when I was younger. And so I always run from it. I remember like running around my dad's house from the monster. And I would wake up like drenched in sweat. And I would go and knock on my mom and dad's door to go get in their bed. And my dad hated that. For obvious reasons, right? He hated it, y'all. But I remember like just getting in their bed in the middle of the night. And my dad, at one point, he got fed up. He was like, you know what? Go back to your room. You are not coming in here. He was like, you're not coming in here. I was a little girl, like, I don't know. I probably was like 7. I was young. He was like, you are not coming in here tonight. So he forced me to go back and lay in my own bed in my own room. I was scared, y'all. I think I was scared of the dark. I had a night light. And being that I grew up in a Christian household, my mom and dad both like were religious and, you know, faithful Christians, right? Devout Christians, going to church every Sunday, Bible study, all that. My dad would tell me as a remedy to just open up my Bible and face up and put it under my pillow. Miraculously, it worked when I was younger. Like, it worked and I didn't have dreams. Like, the nightmares would go away. I guess it's like as a spiritual kind of form of protection. And so it's crazy, but like I grew older, of course, and I will continue to still have like just weird dreams. Even as an adult, I had dreams like there are themes. This is what it is. It's themes that I find that are consistent in my dreams. So like I'll have like dreams where sometimes I consider to be premonitions where something tragic is gonna happen. I've had dreams about like people dying and that person died. I've had dreams where it was like an apocalyptic dream, like something tragic happening in our society, in our world, and then it did happen. It's just like, but it always comes in the form of like a metaphor, right? So what happens in my dream is not exact detail from detail happening like in real life when it does happen, but it's almost like a premonition, like something in the dream where these dreams is like, I remember explosions going off and people dying and people just in terror and in fear, and then the pandemic happened. And it's weird, y'all. And I wake up from my dreams, I'm just like, God damn, how can I have a dream like that? Anybody else have lucid dreams like this? But I always had dreams. Nightmares and even good dreams too. I like the dreams that I have control over, where I'm well aware that I'm dreaming. And I have full control over the dream. And those dreams it's funny, y'all. It's funny because those dreams, I usually do the things that I would not normally do in real life. So I remember, before I give y'all one example, one dream, I actually like ran out into the street butt ass naked and just was like, I'm free. And I got to walk around in public naked. When I'm aware that I'm dreaming and that obviously I have control over the dream. Hey Virginia, what's up? So, talking about my weird, bizarre dreams that I've had. And I have a dream that I want to talk to you guys about that I just had this morning before I woke up. So I do like those dreams. I remember when I was with my ex a couple years ago, right? I had this dream, but it was more like a, what do they call those dreams when you have, it was more like a hallucination, y'all. I think they call it pompic hallucination, where you hallucinate as you're waking up from a dream, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't have that often. I think I've had that like twice in my entire life, actually twice. The first time it was when I was with my ex. This shit was crazy. Because I woke, like as I'm waking up, and I'm not even, was I aware that I was dreaming? No, I wasn't aware that I was sleeping. It felt very real. That's what it was. It felt very real. And right as I'm waking up, but I'm still like dreaming, I see bugs crawling like on the wall. And they're like crawling like in midair too, like trying to get me, like coming at me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I jumped up, like I'm clearly asleep. I'm in bed, but I jumped up because I see this as I'm waking up. And then my ex, he looking at me like, girl, what is wrong with you? I was like, yo, I just seen some shit crawling. Y'all may think I'm crazy, but no, I think it's just my mind, my imagination is just crazy, you guys. And I kind of like it. Like, it's weird in a weird way, but I do kind of like it. It's kind of freaky. And I remember maybe like a year or two ago, this was like after that, I was living in South LA. I had a dream where, and that the one previous to that I just told you guys about the bugs, that was when I was living in Hollywood, California. But then I had to move to South LA my last 2 years in LA. And I'm in my bed, sleep, and I wake up and I see like it's like as I'm sleeping, but as I'm waking up too, like I see a freaking figure like over my coming through my window. No, it was like peeking through my window. But it was like it looked like a human being. It looked like a person, but it was big. It was like a large, oversized person peeking through my freaking window. That shit scared me. I think it was somebody's spirit. I think that's what it was, y'all. And I think, because you guys know I study psychology and I work with people in psych hospitals who hallucinate for real, right, on a regular basis. But I think from those two experiences with me having those pompic hallucinations, like as I'm waking up from a dream, I think that the first one I think it wasn't real. I think like I was seeing things that wasn't there. But I think the second one, because I believe in spirits, and that reminds me, I had another one like that in college. Oh my gosh, you guys, where I saw a spiritual being come into my room when I was in college. Y'all. But I wasn't afraid though. That's the interesting part about that one. Back in college, I was not afraid. So I think there are good spirits, there are evil spirits obviously, and I think when I was in college and I saw that figure like appear in my room, and like it was real, y'all. This was not hallucination. It was so real. Like I saw it standing at my doorway. But it was very calm. Like it calmed my spirit, and I'm looking at it. And I am awake. So I'm not asleep. But it was like, I was waking up though. And it was like in the middle of the night. And I wasn't afraid. I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And I remember growing up in a Christian household and being so religious. Like I kind of found spirituality pretty fascinating. I've always found it fascinating. Especially like the supernatural aspect of it and being able to hear and see things that aren't really there. So what I'm talking to you guys about, I think does have like a cultural context, because I am a very, very, very spiritual person. I remember growing up, even when I was back in the church, like I would pray to God and ask God to give me the ability to be able to see things, right, that aren't there. I asked him that because I just thought that was cool. But he didn't give it to me, I think, at that point, because I was young. This was like elementary, maybe middle school. I think it was like elementary when I had prayed and asked God that. So I do remember that very prayer, and I was just like, I would love to be able to see demons. So it's not that I was asking to see angels. I was asking to see demons. And I think I was fascinated about that because I had read this book called Revelation of Hell. I'm trying to remember the author's name. I think the author's name is Mary Kay Baxter. If I'm not mixing up authors, because I've come across so many books. If I'm not mixing up authors, I think the author of this book, her name is Mary Kay Baxter. She wrote actually 2 books related to dreams that she had. The first one was Revelation of Hell, where she actually went to hell in her dream. Like God took her to hell so she can see what that experience was like. And I just like the way she described what she saw in very fine detail, where I can actually, as you're reading it, you can see it, you can visualize, you almost can feel it and smell what she's describing in her book. And the book is a very quick, easy read. You can probably read it in one day. So when she was talking about that in her book, like I think I got inspired. I was like, oh, I would love to be able to see demons. Since I had prayed, asked God for that gift, just to be able to see demons in other people. I remember. Now I remember. Just to see like supernatural beings. I think that's just amazing. But it doesn't happen often. It's kind of rare that happens. And so this morning, as I had a dream during my little nap after I woke up this morning early and I went back to sleep, took a little nap. And during that period, it was only like for a half hour, guys. This shit, I'm like, how the hell? But that's the thing, when I fall asleep very easily. It don't take me long to fall asleep, how some people take sometimes They struggle and they toss and turn and fall asleep. And I fall straight asleep. Every time I like close my eyes, lay my head down in bed, I'm in a whole nother world. Because I actually like sleeping. I look forward to it sometimes because I look at it as like time travel and being able to like go to different dimensions that we don't really experience in our waking periods of our life. So I just like that. I like just being able to like experience different realities that are beyond the norm and beyond what most people experience just day to day in the physical realm. And so I woke up angry. I have to say that I woke up angry this morning. I woke up a bit angry and shocked and like a little bit relieved too that okay, it was only a dream. Because this is what happened in the dream this morning. So in dreams, you never notice dreams never really have like a complete story, like a beginning, middle, and end. It's almost like you just kind of appear. It just like happens and you're just like, boom, placed in the dream. You're there. You know? I think it's just a matter of consciousness. And when we come to a level of consciousness as we are dreaming or time traveling, that consciousness is how we're able to store that memory. And so we only remember part of it, but the whole thing has happened. Maybe it's just only a part of it that I remember. But anyway, this is what I can recall. This is what happened in the dream. So in a dream, it was in the morning time. I was at my place living in Manhattan. Now, granted, I do live in Manhattan, so it's a funny thing how like part of your dream is true. That's why it seems so real. It's like, okay, damn, that's true. I live in Manhattan. So the setting took place in my place in Manhattan, but not this place. It was actually a 2-story. It was a townhouse. So I currently live in a flat, but it was a townhouse place that I was in. My sister, who I am closest to in age, she was there. And I remember going to my purse. It was in the morning time. I grabbed my purse and I looked in my purse and I noticed something was different about what was in my purse. I'm like, okay, you know how you already know something off, right, before you even really get to the actual thing you're trying to get to? So I'm looking through my purse and I open the same purse I got too, the same purse I got now. It was the same purse in my dream. It was a brown purse that I have. I'm opening it, the main part to the purse, the big zipper, and then I go to like the smaller part because I noticed something was off. And anytime I notice something is off, like I check. I'm just like my dad, maybe a little bit OCD-ish. Well, I can tell like if someone has been or touched any of my thing, right? Like it might have been in my place or have touched anything because I know exactly how things are placed. Like I know, trust me, I can tell when something is off. If it's turned like even 10 degrees, I'm like, okay, yeah, somebody turned this. This is not how I left it. I can tell, my spirit lets me know like, okay, something is off about the way that picture is sitting on the wall or the way that figure is sitting on the table. You know, it's like it's turned. It's off by a couple degrees. And I noticed that my dad, he was the same way when I was living with him in high school. I was like a typical teenager, so you know his rule was you can't I couldn't have visitors over, right? But you know, teenagers, we do what we want to do, right? Growing up. And so I would sneak my friends over when he was at work because I would get home from school before he would get home from work. And he knew when I had people in the house, not just by the smell too, because of course you can smell when when your house smells different, right? But he would like look at the floor. Like, who does this? He looked at the floor and he was like, I can tell people been walking in here. And no matter how I try to smooth out the carpet to make it, like he would be able to tell just off of that. I'm just like, yo, talking about OCD. So I think I have that quality in the dream. I noticed that where I was observing in the dream that I'm telling you guys about that I had this morning, where I'm looking through my purse noticed something was off. And so I opened a small zipper part, and amazingly, there was like a bag with a couple toothbrushes in there. I'm like, what the hell? Toothbrushes. And it kind of looked like a toothbrush that I use. I'm like, okay, maybe nobody didn't touch my purse. But then I noticed it was multiple toothbrushes. They were half. They weren't even full toothbrushes. They were like half, like a half toothbrush, you know, just like the top half of the toothbrush, right? A couple of them in there. And then it was like a tooth. It's like, I find that to be so weird, y'all. And what the hell is the meaning of that? Y'all let me know. Comment below. Let me know what the hell is it. But there was a tooth in there. So I automatically knew, first of all, it wasn't my tooth. I'm spitting, excuse me guys. But it wasn't my tooth at all. I'm like, this ain't my damn tooth. So I automatically knew that it was my sister. I'm like, okay, she been in my freaking purse. And so I confront her. And now, granted, I love my sister. She might see this. I don't know. But I love my sister. I always fended for her, too. Like, my sister was more of, like, the feminine. She had more of the feminine energy. And I always had, like, a little bit more masculine energy than my sister. But I ain't played the radio with her either, though. Like, even though I defended her, I fended for her growing up. I ain't played the radio. I ain't played the radio at all with her. And and she's older than me too. She's 3 years older than me. But I always had this toughness about me anyway. And so I had confronted her. This is all in a dream, y'all. I confronted her and I was just like, you been in my purse. And she denied it, yo. Of course she's gonna deny it. She denied it. And so I was like, no, you been in my purse. And see, she had, what it was, she borrowed my purse. Because she had went out the night before. This is all in the dream. She went out the night before. She borrowed it, but she didn't ask my permission. And granted, that's how, like, me and my sister were growing up. We would wear each other's clothes. Well, I pretty much would wear her clothes. But she would, like, we would just use each other's stuff, right? But I pretty much would wear her clothes because she, you know, she was a lot more fashionable than I was growing up. She was, like I said, like more of the feminine kind of energy. But we would still use each other's stuff. Like, she would want to come in my room and sit on my bed. And I told y'all about the story with that. This was, like, back in elementary school because I was a neat freak. I'm still kind of a neat freak. And I had a rule where you had to ask permission to sit on my bed. So she just, like, sat on my bed without my permission. And I think she kind of did it to be repulsive, like to just get on my nerves, just So I had a reflex. And the reflex, I just like punched her in the eye. Her eye, like, I blacked her eye. I think it was by accident though, because I don't think I intended to do that. I swear to God, it was reflex. I don't do this now, you guys. I don't have those kind of reflexes, but yo, I had some sharp ass reflexes back then. And like one punch just straight to her eye, it black. But I was just like, yo, I said don't sit on my bed. Like, you thought I'm joking. Like, if I have a rule, do not freaking sit on my bed. That's how it was back then. I was young, elementary school. And so, in the dream, I know I keep jumping in, jumping out, y'all, because this dream is weird, y'all. Just me even talking about it, like, I feel weird. I felt weird waking up. I'm just like, what the hell? And so I confronted her. She denied it, but I knew she had went out. She borrowed my purse without my permission. So she was sitting down on the couch as I'm confronting her. And I said, check it. I know you took my purse. I know you used my purse. I just want you to admit it. And since you're not admitting it, honestly, willingly, verbally, with your words, I told her that I'm going to make her admit it. So in the dream, the way I made her admit it was I said, if you took my purse and used my purse without my permission, I'm going to make blood come from your chest. And as I was saying it, y'all, I didn't even get all my words out, I swear. But as I said this, in a dream, blood started pouring from her chest. And she was like, okay, I did it. Because I guess she realized that if nothing intervened, like if it just continued to pour from her chest, right, she probably would die. And so she's like, okay. And when she admitted it, she stopped bleeding. But the stain was still there on her chest. And so then after that, it was maybe moments later, or maybe later in that day, or the next day. It was just after that, right? In the dream. Because I guess when you dream, time doesn't really matter, right? It's just almost like there is no such thing as time. I mean, we only give time its meaning, right? But in reality, like, there is no such thing as time. Especially in the spiritual realm. And so this is what happened after that. So it came around where I'm in the kitchen. And actually was home alone. She wasn't there. She had left. But I'm in the kitchen. And there's a gas stove. Like most New York City apartments operate on gas, right? There's a gas stove. And I notice a leak. And I go and try to turn it off. But it's still spilling out. Now, you guys know, like, gas is like a kind of a vapor. Like, you can't see it, but you can smell it, right? But in the dream, I could see it. It was in a liquid form. And it was spilling out. It was coming out of the stove, from the top of the stove. And even though I tried to, like, turn off the stove, it was still coming out. So I, like, ran... I like grabbed my purse. I remember grabbing it. That was like the first thing I grabbed because I was like, I only have but so much time. And so I grabbed my purse, but I can remember like something holding me down. Like, you ever felt like in a dream, like you trying to run, but you ain't going nowhere. You're just like, damn. So I remember like trying to get away, and I didn't really have that far to go because the door I remember was like right there. It wasn't that far from the kitchen. It was like right there. All I had to do was grab my purse and just open the door, but the amount of effort it took just for me to do that, to open the door, I'm just like, what is happening? Like I'm fighting against something. She wasn't there though. And so then I finally was able to open the door. I'm like, thank God. I have a chance to survive in this dream. And at the time, I didn't even know I was dreaming. So I opened the door. And I made it down my steps. And I was struggling though. I remember like, I saw like the gas, it was like seeping down. Remember, it was liquid form. It was like seeping down the steps. It was like following me. But I made it out. And when I made it out, I woke up. But I knew though, I made the connection in the dream and I knew that it was her. I'm like, okay, she did this. She's trying to freaking kill me. Now, granted, as most siblings do, right? And my sister always had this sibling rivalry, like, and I think to a certain extent, like, she's had this jealousy towards me. And I think my mom kind of instigated too, because she would always like hold me up to be like the model child, right? Like, oh, look everybody, like, this is Danielle, she's so smart. She would show me off to her friends and take me to her job. And say, oh, she's in college and she's doing this. And just like really speak positively about my achievements and stuff like that, right? Which is cool, but it's kind of not cool when you know you have another child and you don't do the same thing for your other child. And especially, like, my mom, she was very blunt. My mom, like, we're from the deep south, right? Like, we, you know, parents, I think, who grew up in a certain generation. My mom grew up, like, with Martin Luther King, like, civil rights. They are very, like, blunt. My mom, very blunt. She don't really hold nothing back. So, like, even in front of, like, both me and my sister, she would, like, make comparisons and stuff. So, I think that's always been, like, this envious kind of thing from my sister towards me. And it's very subtle. Very, very subtle. And so it's weird that I came up in my dream though. I'm just like, what the hell? But I love my sister, and they know they always welcome to come see me and visit me, but I woke up this morning, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I felt mad. I was like, what the, I was mad. I was so mad at my freaking sister. I was just like, she tried to kill me. She tried to kill me. It's crazy. Yo, but she did try to kill me one time before though, because we got into an argument. I'll share this with you guys and I'm about to end the video because I'm doing laundry, but we got into an argument where like I kind of threw it up in her face because we have the same mom, but we don't have the same dad. But my dad raised both of us, and we got into an argument. And, you know, like when I fight, whether with words or with fists, like it ain't no rules. That's how I say it with fighting. So like I mentioned, I was like, oh, you just mad because you know you don't got your dad, whatever. And yo, she went straight to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, yo. She grabbed a knife, and I was in high school, I think. Yeah, I think I was probably 9th grade, 10th grade. She ran to the kitchen, grabbed that knife. I was scared for my life. I ran to the bathroom. I was like, oh my God, I had to beg and plead for her mercy. I was like, please do not. I know you mad. I know you triggered and all that, but please. So, it's funny. I have so many stories to tell, like just growing up. My experiences growing up. I don't even begin to really touch the surface about my life experiences really in my book. Somewhat, but I've been through a lot. But I like to like reflect on my dreams. I just find that to be quite like, oh my gosh. It's disturbing because how I feel like when I wake up, like I be sweating, my heart beating, and it feels so real. And like for me, a lot of times I don't separate when I sleep my experiences, like when I'm sleeping, when I'm awake. I just look at it like it's all real life, you know? Even though it may not make no goddamn kind of sense, but I feel like my spirit traveled somewhere, or a certain degree of my consciousness I was able to tap into and experience this reality. So, who knows what the hell I'm going to dream about tonight. But I don't have nightmares. That's a good thing. I think I kind of outgrew like my nightmare phase where I would have nightmares so frequently. I'm talking about as a young girl, like growing up. It was like almost every night. But I did outgrow that. Thank God. But when I do, I'll have like disturbing dreams like what I talked about earlier in terms of like premonitions of like the world coming to an end. And, you know, people dying left and right. But that's not like every night. That's more like maybe once every 8 weeks or something like that. It's not something that's like frequently. So thank God. Thank God, because that would be very disturbing. I probably would really have to go. No, I probably wouldn't go to no psychologist because like what they gonna do? They can't fix that. And I actually don't want it fixed. I actually like it. Even though it's disturbing, it's like I like it. Even the other dream that I shared with you guys about, I think I had, this was back in 2018 when I was living in LA. The dream about my dad, and Eric, like, that dream went viral, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's so disgusting. Yo, if it was that disgusting, you would not be here, like, and then if it is disgusting, it says something about you who listen to and want to watch something that's disgusting. Like the people that comment, not everybody, of course, some people were fascinated by the dream. And, you know, they tap into it as a fetish, right? Like, because some people, they just, that's their thing. It's a fetish within the BDSM community. So it's not considered nasty. It was very enjoyable for them to watch and listen to me talk about that dream. But some people, they're like, oh, this is disgusting. It's so sick. And I'm like, it's so sick that all these healthy people sat here and watched and listened to it in its entirety. Like, it's not that freaking sick. And if it is, then it's something in your ass that likes sick shit. Because you sitting there listening to it. That reminds me, I'm about to go. But that also reminds me, like, that video, and this video came out many, many years ago. I think this is like way back in high school or college, I think, when I saw this video. And I would hear about it a lot, but I never saw it. It was just like going around, just circulating. It was like, oh, did you see the video, the 2 girls in the cup? And I was like, no. When I finally saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that shit is disgusting. And I know if something is disgusting, I'm not going to watch it. And I didn't know. So my curiosity did lead me to want to see it, because they didn't tell me what it was. But when I saw a first glimpse of what that shit was, I didn't even want to watch the rest. That shit is literally disgusting, okay? So I'm like, okay, if that dream that I talked about was that disgusting, y'all wouldn't be watching it. And you hated it so much. It's some part about your ass that likes it. It's some part about you that likes it. Just go ahead and admit it. It's something about you that like nasty shit. But I'm about to go, y'all. It's Saturday. I'm finishing up my laundry. I actually got up early this morning. I cleaned my house. And I'm about to go to the art store, because I'm about to create some new arts and crafts. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to create. I might go live again later or maybe tomorrow, but I am so excited, looking forward to it. And I will catch you guys later. I want you guys to share what you think about that dream, like, or even the rest of the dreams that I talked to you guys about. I know I'm not the only one who has this very vivid, weird imagination, but I kind of like it. I embrace it. All right, I'll catch you guys later.